Господу помолимся.
Господи, помилуй.
О свышнем мире и о спасении душ наших Господу помолимся. Благостоянии святых Божьих церквей и соединении всех Господу помолимся.
Господи, помилуй.
О святем храме сем и с верою, благоговением и страхом Божиим ходящих вонь Господу помолимся.
Господи, помилуй.
О великом Господине и Отце нашим святейшем Патриарсе Кирилле, честнем пресвитерстве во Христе диаконстве, о всем притче и людях, Господу помолимся.
Господи, помилуй.
О богохранимой стране нашей российской и православных людях ее, в Отечестве России несущих и о спасении их, о стране сей, властях и воинстве ее, Господу помолимся.
Господи, помилуй.
О граде сем, всяком граде, стране и верою живущих в них, Господу помолимся.
Господи, помилуй.
О благорастворении воздухов, о изобилии плодов земных и временных мирных, Господу помолимся.
Господи,
Плавающих, путешествующих, недугающих, страждущих, плененных, и о спасении их, Господу помолимся.
Господи,
О, избавитесь нам от всякие скорби, гнева и нужды, Господу помолимся.
Господи,
Заступи, спаси, помилуй, сохрани нас, Боже, Твоею благодатью. Пресвятую, пречистую, преблагословенную, славную Владычицу нашу Богородицу и присно Деву Марию со всеми.
All right, letter 11. Friendship. Christ is born, glorify him. The epigraphy. Faustum praelium. Happy battle. Distant friend and brother. The snowstorm swirls in endless circles, covering the window with a fine snowy ash and beating against the window glass. A hill of frosty dust has settled on the bush in front of the window, and this snowy pyramid grows with each advancing hour. The paths are a smoke. When you try to go outside, a snowy smoke bursts out from beneath your feet. The air vent wheezes. Wind gusts extract moans from the stovepipe. Again and again the snow-white eddies roll about. The winter decoration has been torn from the trees, and the trees stand with bare, outstretched branches, rocking back and forth. You listen to the noise in the pipe, to the wheezes of the vent. The soul becomes still in dim recollections or premonitions, and seems to dissolve in the noises. It is as if you yourself are turning into the whirling snowstorm. The window is already half covered. A twilight half-darkness has begun to reign in the room. A fluid, bluish shadow lies on the room's objects. I attend to the icon lamp. The golden bundle of rays becomes brighter. I light a fragrant candle of amber yellow wax before the Mother of God. We brought this candle from there, that is, from where you and I wandered together. I throw several grains of incense into the clay censer with glowing coals and blow on them. Smoky filaments stretch out in all directions. They intertwine and are mixed in a blue billowing cloud. Let the window be covered by the snow. It's good when that happens. The lamp inside burns more brightly. The incense is more fragrant. The flame of the fragrant candle is more even. Excuse me. Again, I am with you. Every day I remember something about you, and then I sit down to write. Thus, from day to day, my life slides toward the other shore, so that I could look at you at least from there. By love having defeated death, and by death having defeated the passions. Today there is constantly in my memory that frosty and snowy day when you and I were walking to the Paraclete Hermitage. We were walking through the forest. A path had hardly been made through the deep snow. We keep getting stuck. Nevertheless, we got to the Hermitage. Those few days feel like an entire lifetime. Fasting, the common prayer before the large crucifix. We would rise at night. It was cold. In the darkness, we would reach the church with difficulty through snowbanks. Descending beneath the earth, we would stumble. It was half dark in the church, as in a sepulchre. Do you remember the ancient utterly bent, the one who was like Saint Seraphim. Do you remember Father Pavel, the young monk who killed himself with fasting, the one who took communion with us? Even then, it was obvious that he did not have long to live. He did in fact die soon after this, from extreme abstinence. You and I took communion together. That was the seed to everything that I now have. For it is not for nothing that our Abba Isidore told us so many times, only now, after his departure, do I begin to understand the secret meaning of his repeated, persistent words. A brother helped by a brother is as strong as a fortress. Proverbs 18:19. That is what I wish to elucidate to some extent in the present letter. The spiritual activity in which and by which knowledge of the pillar of the truth is given is love. This is love full of grace, manifested only in a purified consciousness. It can only be attained by a long, oh how long, ascesis. In order to strive to attain love unimaginable for creatures, it is necessary to receive an initial impulse and then to be sustained in one's further motion. Such an impulse is the so common and so rationally incomprehensible revelation of a human person, a revelation that manifests itself as love in the receiver of the revelation. Love, Heinrich Heine says, is a terrifying earthquake of the soul. Here I use the word love, not in the same sense as before, in our previous letter, number 4, but also in the same sense as before, because this love is not the same as that love. Though it is nevertheless a foreshadowing of that love, the expected love. Love shakes up a person's whole structure, and after this earthquake of the soul, he can seek. Love opens for him the doors of the worlds on high, whence drifts the cool of paradise. Love shows him, as if in a light dream, the radiant reflection of the habitations. For an instant, love pulls off the cover of dust from creation, even if only at a single point, and reveals the divinely created beauty of creation. Love makes it possible to forget about the power of sin. It takes us out of ourselves, says an authoritative stop to the torrent of our selfhood, and pushes us forward. Go and find in all of life what you have seen in bare outline, and only for an instant. Yes, only for an instant. And returning to itself, the soul longs for the lost bliss, is tormented by the sweet remembrance, as the poet said. I remember a miraculous moment when you appeared before me, like a fleeting vision, like a genius of pure beauty. Now a choice confronts the soul, either to submerge itself in the sin that eats away at the person, or to adorn itself with heavenly beauty. Beyond the moment of eros in the Platonic sense of the word, philia is revealed in the soul, the highest point of earth and the bridge to heaven, constantly revealing in the person of the loved one the glimmer of primordial beauty. Philia erases, if only in a preliminary and conditional way, the bounds of selfhood's separateness, which is aloneness. In a friend, in this other eye of the loving one finds the source of hope for victory and a symbol of what is to come. is thus given preliminary consubstantiality, and therefore preliminary knowledge of the truth. It is upon this peak of human feeling that the heavenly grace of that love descends. But in order to have a clear idea of the nuances of the concepts mentioned here, it is necessary to elucidate the content of the Greek verbs of love. Only the language of the Greeks directly expresses these nuances. The Greek language has 4 verbs that describe different aspects of the feeling of love: Hieron, philein, stergein, and agapon. Hieron, or eraste in poetical language, means to direct a total feeling at an object, to surrender oneself to an object, to feel and perceive for it. This verb refers to passionate love, to jealous and even sensual desire. Consequently, eros is a general expression for love and its passion, as well as for love's desire. Philein conforms most of all to the Russian lyubit in its general meaning, and is opposed to misain and ektyrein. The nuance expressed by this verb of love is an inner inclination toward a person induced by intimacy, closeness, common feeling. Therefore, philein refers to every kind of love of persons who have some sort of intimate relationship. In particular, philein with or without the addition of toi stomati, that is, with the lips, signifies the outward expression of this intimacy, to kiss, as finding its fulfillment in the very closeness of the lovers. Philein includes the element of satisfaction, of self-satiety. According to the explanation of ancient lexicographers, philein means to be satisfied with something, to seek nothing more. But on the other hand, as a naturally developing feeling, philein does not have any moral, or more precisely, moralistic nuance. Philia, philotis, signifies a friendly relation, a tender expression of love, which refers to the inner disposition of the lovers. In particular, philima is a kiss. The third, stergein, signifies not a passionate love for or inclination toward a person or thing, not a beckoning to an object which determines our striving, but a calm and permanent feeling in the depths of the loving one. Owing to this feeling, the loving one recognizes the object of love as intimately connected with him, and in this recognition, the loving one acquires peace of soul. This verb of love refers to organic relation, the relation of kith and kin, a relation that not even evil can destroy, such as the tender, calm, and confident love of parents for their children, of a husband for his wife, of a citizen for his country. The derivative storgi has a meaning that conforms with stergein. For agapon indicates rational love, which is based on evaluation of the loved one, and which is therefore not passionate, ardent, or tender love. About this love, we can give an account to ourselves in our rational mind, because in agapon there are fewer sensations, habits, or direct inclinations than convictions. in the common usage of the verb love, agapan is the weakest and is close in meaning to such verbs as to value, to respect. And the greater the place that is occupied by the rational mind, the smaller will be the place occupied by feeling. Then agapan can even mean to value rightly, not to overvalue. Since evaluation is a comparison, a choice, agapan includes the concept of a free, selective directing of the will. It would be interesting to clarify the etymon of the word examined. However, attempts at an etymology of the root agapao have unfortunately not yielded any decisive or even stable conclusions. According to Schenkel, agapao is related to agamai, I am amazed, I am enthusiastic, and perhaps to agi, amazement, astonishment, to aganos, worthy of amazement, noble, to agaio, I glorify, I decorate, to agaio, I am proud, I rejoice, to ganamai, I rejoice, I am merry, and to the Latin gaudium, guadere. If this is really the case, then agapan evidently means to have one's joy in something. But there are other explanations. According to Pavel, agapan comes from agach, or agan, that is, very, and from the root pa, entering into paomai, I take, I acquire, so that agapan means to take very much. Ser nechmen, in the sense of readily and greedily. However, Prelevitz's hypothesis is refuted in the further investigations of Brugman, Fick, and Lagerkrantz. In sum, E. Boissach, the author of the most recent etymological dictionary, declares that the etymology of agapao is obscure. His word. The derivative agapesis signifies love in general, without sensuousness or cordiality, while agapema signifies a favored object. The relationship between the four verbs of love is such. Agapan resembles philein in many ways, but since it refers to the rational moral side of psychic life, it does not include the idea of a spontaneous act coming directly from the heart, an act that would reveal an inner inclination. Agapan is deprived of the nuances of philein, connoting to do willingly, to kiss. A kiss, after all, is a spontaneous, direct expression of feeling, to become accustomed to doing. Aristotle characterizes this difference between philein and agapan by the following comparison of the two verbs. Kai ho philos ton hedion, to tigar philein hedu, udeis gar phileinos mi chairon oinoi, kai to phileistai hidu fantasia garkai and tauta tou uparkain autoi agaton ainai. O pantis epit humosin, oi akistanomenoi, to defilaistai agapastai histin auton di auton. That is, a pleasant that is, a friend is a pleasant thing. It is, after all, pleasant to love, thus every lover of wine enjoys it, and it is also pleasant to be loved. For here too one sees that he, the loved one, has the good that all who perceive it desire, to be loved, philaistai, is to be appreciated, agapastai, for oneself, that is, the loved one is appreciated not for some reason outside himself, but precisely for himself. Thus, philain is an inclination associated with the loved person himself and is produced by life in intimacy and by unity in many things. By contrast, agapon is an inclination associated not with the person himself, but rather with his features, with his properties, and therefore it is a somewhat impersonal, abstract inclination. Excuse me. Therefore, philaistai can be explained through agapastai by the addition of auton di heauton. Agapon has in view the properties of a person. Philon has in view the person himself. The former gives itself an account of its inclination, calculates and weighs, while for the latter the inclination is revealed spontaneously. Therefore, agapon has a moral tint, while philain does not have any moral tint, for philain is spontaneous love, not free by its nature, amare, while agapon is love as the direction of will determined by the rational mind. This is free love, diligere. In particular, this latter aspect receives emphasis in biblical usage, and agapon, proaistai, and diokain are therefore used synonymously by Aristotle. As for the relation between philain and iran, they too are similar in content in many ways. However, iran refers to the affective, sensual, and pathological side of love, while philain refers to inward attachment and intimacy. Finally, storge does not signify a passion that erupts, eros, a personal inclination, philia, or a warm valuation of a person's qualities, agape. In short, it does not signify a feeling arising in a man as a distinct person. Rather, it signifies attachment, gentleness, and cordiality innate in man as a member of mankind, in relation to persons with whom there exists habitual, deep-rooted, sub-personal ties. Storge is preeminently a generic feeling, a feeling directed at mankind, while others, that is, eros, philia, and agape, are personal. In sum, the following features can be noted in philain. 1. Immediacy of origin, based on personal contact, but not conditioned by organic ties alone. Naturalness. 2. Deep insight into the person himself, and not only evaluation of his qualities. 3. A quiet, cordial, non-rationalistic character of feeling, but at the same time one that is not passionate, not impulsive, not unrestrained, not blind, not turbulent. 4. Closeness, a closeness that is personal and deeply inward. Thus, the Greek language distinguishes four categories of love: the surging eros, or sensuous, passionate love; tender, organic, storge, or the love of kith and kin, attachment; the dry, rational agape, or the love of valuation, respect, and cordial, sincere philia, or the love of inward acceptance, personal insight, friendliness. But in fact, none of these words expresses the love of friendship that we are considering in the present letter, a love that combines the aspects of philia, eros, and agape, a love the ancients attempted to express in some degree by the compound word philophrosoni. In any case, the most suitable word here is philein, with its derivatives. Let us therefore clarify the etymon and usage of philos as compared with synonyms of the same root. Philos derives from the pronominal root sfe, which in Russian gives svoi, on, or svoi, which is the origin of four synonyms: phytis or itis, hetairos, philos, idios. Consequently, philos essentially signifies someone who is one's own, quote unquote, close. But other derivatives of the root sphe signify own. What nuance differentiates philos from each of them? 1. The Homeric phetai are the persons one meets frequently, the persons one has much common business with. One could render phetai by the collective znat in the Voronezh dialect, that is, the circle of those whom one knows. In Russian, znat is to know. This is the same as the Old Church Slavonic znaemye, as for example in Psalm 87:18. Lover and friend hast thou put far from me, and mine acquaintance, znaemye in the Old Church Slavonic, into darkness. In Homer, hetairoi signifies allies, those who join in a common enterprise. Therefore, Aristarchus already explains hetairoi through sunergoi, collaborators. Itis is a more ancient form of the word hetairos. Its content is not limited by a suffix. Hetairia and hetairea signify an alliance. A synonym of hetairos, the Old Russian tovar, that is tovarish, comrade, and its diminutives tovarish and tovarosh, derives according to S. Mikutsky from the root var, to cover, to close up, and properly signifies defense, defender. The Old Russian tovar, tovari, that is camp, military encampment, signifies defense. The Magyar var, fort, fortification, also properly signifies defense. As for the particle to, it is a demonstrative pronoun which is found in the Russian to piritsia, to bristle up, the Lithuanian to ligos, equal, even the Polish to yad, the Russian iad, poison, a poisonous plant, the Shek Rostomini, very dear. This to is probably identical with the demonstrative article used in Bulgarian, and even now can be found in certain northern dialects of Russian, especially in the Kostroma dialect. 3. Philos is a friend, one with whom we are connected by mutual love. Philia is friendship. The relation between philos and heteros is as follows. One is always well disposed toward philos, for in the absence of this well disposedness, philos stops being philos for us. By contrast, heteroi are friends of occasion, who are our friends only because we are pursuing with them some common goal. Thus, if philos and heteros are compared, the former signifies a person with whom we are intimately linked by love, and while the latter signifies only a comrade, tovarish. Sometimes heteros even signifies only a political ally, a member of the same party. Heteroi are linked by a temporary, external, accidental connection, whereas philoi are linked by an indissoluble, or what should be an indissoluble, internally necessary spiritual connection. In this sense, the following equation is correct. Philos equals pistos heteros. A friend is a faithful comrade, faithful unto the end and in all. Therefore, pairastai phialon, to put friends to the test, is a sign of mistrust and deficiency of friendship. The ancient grammarians already spoke of this distinction between heteros and philos. Thus, according to Ammonius, heteros and philos are different. Philos is also heteros, but heteros is not completely philos. Therefore, Homer says of the wind in the Odyssey 11 and 7, inflating the sails of a true comrade. And on the other hand, one usually calls philoi all those who mutually observe the obligations of friendship, whereas heteroi are, in general, those who live and work together. On sunitai kai and sunergiai. 4. Finally, the word idios signifies one's own, in opposition to that which we have in common with many, that is, koinos, demonsios, and so forth. Demonsios. Idios signifies peculiarity, that is, a person or thing in opposition to others having their own nature. Such is the natural human meaning of the verbs of love and their derivatives. But the Holy Scripture, having adopted some of these verbs, gave them a new content, filled them with spirit, and saturated them with the idea of divine love full of grace. In Scripture, the internal energy of the Word has become inversely proportional to the human energy that was connected with the Word in the classical language. The words Iran and Iaros are virtually absent from the books of the Old Testament in the Septuagint, and they are completely excluded from the books of the New Testament. One should note, however, that the terms Eros and Iran have found a place in ascetic writings. Such mystical fathers as Gregory of Nyssa, Nicholas Cavasilas, Simeon the New Theologian, and the rest use these terms to designate the higher love for God. In particular, Simeon the New Theologian has a long work about the love for God, which is even entitled Erotis, that is, Erosis. In the Holy Scripture, Philein was filled with spirit and came to express Christian relations of love, based on personal inclination and personal communion. Finally, the formerly colorless and dry agapon was filled with spiritual life, and in the newly formed, expressly biblical agape, it began to express profound, universal love, the love of higher, spiritual freedom. In some cases, philein and agapon are almost interchangeable. In other cases, they are differentiated. Thus, when it is a question of the commandment of love for God and for one's neighbors, the word agapon is always used. However, concerning love for enemies, only agapon is used, never philein. On the contrary, philein and agapon are alternately used to denote the Lord's intimately personal love for Lazarus. And the Gospel of John 11:3, 5, and 36, and his relationship with his beloved disciple, John 20:21. See also 13:23, 19:26, and 21:7. The New Testament usage of agapon can be summarized in the following way. A. Agapon occurs in all cases where it is a question of direction of will, Matthew 5:43, 44, 1:9, etc., as well as where inclination rests on a decision of the will, on the choice of the object of love. Hebrews 1:9, 2 Corinthians 9:7, 1 Peter 3:15, John 13:19, John 12:43, John 21:15-17, and Luke 6-32. In order to understand anything of the Lord's conversation with Peter, John 21:15-17, so decisive for justifying the claims of the Catholics, we must take account of the different meanings of the two verbs of love. By his twice-uttered question, the resurrected Christ indicates to Peter that he violated friendly love, philia, for the Lord, and that henceforth one can demand of him only universal love, only that love which every disciple of Christ necessarily offers to every person, even to his enemy. It is in this sense that the Lord asks, agape me. Agapeis me. The meaning of the question is clear, but in order to express it in our language, one would need to expand the text, perhaps in this way. Once you were accounted my friend, but now after your renunciation of me, it does not pay even to speak of friendly love. But there is another love which must be offered to all people. Do you have at least that love for me? But Peter does not even want to hear such a question, and keeps speaking of the authenticity of his personal friendly love, Theology. I am your friend. That is why he was grieved when, despite this twice-uttered insistence on his philia for the Lord agreed to speak of this kind of love only in the third question, which was probably posed in a tone of reproach and mistrust. Phileis me? Are you my friend? At first the Lord did not speak of friendship at all, and Peter received his question calmly. Peter was so certain of his universal human love for the Lord, and so confident that there could be no question concerning this love as far as he was concerned, that he did not even consider it necessary to answer the hidden, immeasurably delicate reproach in these words. The figure of silence. Perhaps he even did not understand or did not want to understand the Lord in this sense. So it was twice. Then the Lord disclosed his hidden thought and spoke directly of the love of friends. That is what grieved the apostle. He was grieved because the third time Jesus said to him, "Are you my friend?" John 21:17a. The ear hears tears and his halting answer, "Lord, you know everything. You know that I am your friend." Su gignoskais oti philo se. John 21:17b. Keeping in mind the fact that the words agapon and philein are not identical, one can scarcely understand this conversation as a restoration of Peter's apostolic dignity. It is difficult to admit such a meaning, if only because Peter did not behave worse, even if not better, with regard to his teacher than the other apostles. Thus, if Peter lost his apostleship, the other apostles are no different in this respect. Furthermore, nowhere is it seen that he was excommunicated from the 12 as an apostate. On the contrary, he does not ascribe any extraordinary guilt to himself, nor do the others. But what Peter really needed was the restoration of friendly, personal relations with the Lord. For Peter did not reject Jesus as the Son of God, did not say that he was renouncing faith in him as the Messiah. That was not even demanded of him. Rather, he had injured the Lord as a friend injures a friend, and therefore he needed a new covenant of friendship. In other words, the passage analyzed here does not at all concern events of ecclesiastical economy, whether they are understood as the restoration of Peter in apostleship or as the bestowing upon him of extraordinary powers. It exclusively concerns this apostle's personal fate in life. This passage is edifying, but it is not dogmatic, and Roman Catholics therefore underscore it in vain. The foregoing discussion explains why the evangelist considered it possible to place the 21st chapter outside the frame of the exposition. It is clear that he did not see in it something indisputably important, but that could not be the case in its Roman Catholic interpretation. Agapon is used there, where there is selection, and as negative selection, the not taking into account eligere and negligere. Matthew 6:24, Luke 16:13, and Romans 9:13. Thus, ho huios mou agapetos. Luke 9:35. See also Matthew 12:18. Has its parallel in Isaiah 42:1. This passage is rendered as ho eklektos mou in the Septuagint. See, agapon is also used where it is a question of free, not organic, pity. Luke 7:5, 1 Thessalonians 1:4, etc. Finally, agapon refers to the historically revealed relation between Christians. As for agape, it is a word that, as we have said, is wholly alien to the extra-biblical ancient secular language. It signifies a love that, through a decision of the will, selects for itself its object, dilectio, thus becoming a self-negating and passive self-surrender for and for the sake of the object. Such sacrificial love on a secular basis is known only as a fleeting feeling. An inspiration from another world, not as a determination of life activity. The biblical agape therefore has features that are not human, unconditional, but divine and absolute. This quartet of words of love is one of the greatest jewels in the treasury of the Greek language, and it is hardly possible to survey with a single glance all the advantages offered to the understanding of life by this perfect instrument. Or the understanding of it from life? Forgive me. Other languages cannot flatter themselves with anything even remotely similar in the domain of the idea of love. This results in endless and useless talks and frictions, as well as the need to invent at least a surrogate of the Greek quartet, which is done by using several words to create a term equivalent to a single Greek word. Such complex terms are offered by Arnold Goelinks in his Ethics, which appeared in 1665. He posits the following four types of love: amor affectionis, love of feeling; amor benevolentiae, love of benevolence; amor concupiscentiae, love of attraction; amor obedientiae, love of respect. In comparison with the Greek words, the relationship would be roughly such: amor affectionis, philia; amor benevolentiae, agape; amor concupiscentiae, eros; amor obedientiae, storge. Goelinks also recognizes the formal possibility of a fifth type of love, which he calls amor spiritualis, and which he defines as a bodiless being's passive love, a pure spirit's love, passion. But he does not recognize this abstract love as something wholly real, which is probably why he does not introduce it in the final classification of the types of love. As for us, we are ready to admit that perhaps there is a special life that is characteristic of a bodiless, quote-unquote, astral, but not thereby spiritual, organization, and that it may find its realization in phenomena of mediumistic ecstasy among spiritists, Callists, certain mystics, and so on. But this state has been investigated little, and we do not need it for our purposes. I will permit myself to refrain from a special examination of this state here. Sounds Blagavatsky. Blavatsky. Yet. Let us present a scheme that summarizes Goelinks' views of love. Let us note that some slight contradictions in the following table result from the fact that there are two versions of the Ethics. The text of the Ethics was written in 1665, whereas the notes were written in 1675.